Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my weekly deck reviews. I love filming these and I have a lot of stuff to talk about and I'm changing things up just a little bit, maybe, probably, I think. But I've been really spacey this week, so good luck to me filming this and good luck to you following my squirreliness because I have been so squirrely this week. If you didn't get a chance to see it, Peggy and I went live earlier this week just for like a random chit chat and I was in fine form as far as being scattered and silly. So I will put a link to that up there in case you want to watch it back. I mean, viewer discretion and all because, well, live silliness ensued. But let me get on to this week's weekly deck review. So if you're new to this series, this is the series where I share with you the decks I have been working with over the past week and what I'm going to be working with next week. But as part of talking about what I've been working with, I like sort of sharing how it worked out for me, different decks, how they work together, all that good kind of stuff. I have a bunch of things to share, but first, let's talk about the tarot deck I was working with this week. Hello to this gorgeous Peggy bag. I think I mentioned this last week, but legitimately, I wanted to snag one of these when she started making these so bad, and I was like, I don't have a deck that goes, I don't have a deck that goes, I need to wait till I have a deck that goes. And then I got the Affirmators Tarot, and I was like, this deck goes. It's an animal deck, and it's got flashes of gold, and this is like a animal print bag with rainbow and flashes of gold. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but all these little spots are lined in this like metallic gold, and it's gorgeous. And I probably shouldn't show it off because I'm not sure if she has any left, but I love this one. Okay, but let's talk about the deck. So this is a mass market tarot deck put out by the company Knock Knock. Oh my god, I'm so blind. Say Something More. Oh yeah, Knock Knock, Say Something More. I think they're like a stationery company. I could be wrong, but I have been a big fan of the Affirmators Oracle deck. I mean, the cardstock quality of the Affirmators Oracle is terrible. Honestly, it is. And some of my deck cards even have like misprints and like missing stuff, and I don't even care because there's so much personality in those cards that I just adore them. So when I found out they were coming out with the tarot, I was like, well, I need it. If nothing else, so that I can pair it with the Affirmators Oracle, because I thought that'd be really fun. Spoiler alert, I did not pair this with the Affirmators Oracle this week, but there's a reason. Anyway, when I got this in, I was really impressed by the quality. I will also link up in the cards my walkthrough of this deck. It really was a happy surprise. This box is really super nice. It's a clamshell that opens this way. I mean, it's not my favorite clamshell, but I do love clamshell boxes. And it's really nice and sturdy. It's really super thick. I would have preferred like one of those wraparound magnetic closure style boxes, but this is still pretty darn good, especially for a mass market deck put out by like a not tarot company. You know what I'm saying? So the guidebook that comes in here is also really well made. It is, let's see if I can, there. Come on, focus. You can do it. I think it's focused. Anyway, it's a, what do you call it? Sewn binding, and it feels really sturdy. And it's really well written. Like the personality of the Affirmators Oracle is super present in the Affirmators Tarot, which makes sense because they are by the same author, who is Susie Barrett. So there's a bit about the author on the back page here. And the writing style here, if you like the book Kitchen Table Tarot, and they're very similar, sorry, they're very different writing styles, but if you like that sort of fun and sassy kind of vibe to guidebooks, you will love this. And I share a little bit more from this in my walkthrough, but it's really good. I really enjoyed looking up each card every time I pulled cards from this deck this week. But anyways, let's get on to the cards. I love the backs, and I don't normally like to see text on the backs of decks. I don't normally like to see like the deck name or any of that kind of stuff, but I mean, it's in gold. It's flashy, it's pretty. I don't mind it. And for this deck, I don't know, it didn't bother me. These cards are, I do this to myself every time. I don't have a standard deck. Anyways, you can probably see the size comparison in my walkthrough, but they are a little bit wider than a standard deck, which makes them a little chunkier to hold, but they are really bright and colorful. When I first saw images of this deck online, I actually thought it was kind of pippish. Like cards like this is actually probably, I freaking love these happy squids in the Ten of Cups. So there is like 2 squids with all their little squid babies. I mean, I actually thought it was very pippish, but it's not. There's everything you need is here. Like the Two of Wands, we have this like rhino who's got this spyglass and he's like looking out for where he's gonna go next. Oh my gosh, I just love, it's a very happy, I mean, come on. The Eight of Wands is a unicorn lassoing a bunch of wands. All the meanings are there. It is not a pip deck. There is the symbology that you need if you really look at the card. And I don't think it takes much effort. But I just, okay, this Ten of Pentacles is a little bit abstract, but not much. And you can really work with the animal energies as well if you want to dig a little deeper. There is, let's just put it this way, there's more to this deck than meets the eye. Like here's the Seven of Pentacles, which we normally see in the Rider-Waite-Smith, somebody who's farming, they're getting ready to harvest. And here we have these bees sort of buzzing around a plant here. You still get the right kind of energy. I just really enjoyed working with this deck. I felt like it had everything I needed. And can I tell you that the Six of Swords has been stalking me. Let's see if it's, I bet you it's still just hanging out somewhere really obvious. No, it's gonna hide for me now that I want to show it. But like, I mean, look at this meditating tiger in the Four of Swords. How cute is he? And I freaking love, this is probably one of my favorite lovers cards ever, but I am a sucker for sea otters, I'm not gonna lie. So that's probably part of it. The characters in this deck have so much personality. Like, look at these guys. I just love it. I just love it. I don't have a lot of decks with this. What am I saying? I was about to say I don't have a lot of decks with this playful energy, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna get so much crap for even like saying that because I do love me a playful deck. But I just like, look at this Five of Pentacles. We've got this like little koala friend, and his little pocket is empty, and he's turned it inside out, and he's like sad face koala. I really enjoyed this, and it is extremely affordable. It's available on Amazon. It's really easy to get your hands on it right now. It's new and it's beautifully made. The cards have like a linen finish. They are a little bit thin feeling, but linen finish cards often feel much more bendy to begin with, and they feel like they'll hold up really, really nice. I like the card finish. I think they feel, it's a very textured kind of linen finish, and they feel like they're gonna hold up really, really well. I think that everything I need is in here. I love this Five of Swords too, with our very, very spiky porcupine. Yeah, I really enjoyed working with this deck. It was a lot of fun, totally my personality. I would like to edge it, I just haven't decided. With all of these bright colors, I'm not sure yet how I would want to edge this deck, but I do think I want to edge it. I wish there was a title card so that I could test the cardstock for edging, because I'm concerned about any bleed. But like, look at the flashy gold. I don't know, I thought this was a really nice deck, especially for the price point. And this would definitely be one I would recommend to anybody who loves that sort of cute aesthetic, or anybody who really wants to get into working with animal energies. This is also a great starter deck for somebody who's intimidated by the tarot. They want something a little gentler, a little less intimidating or scary. And the guidebook entries are very well written. There's a portion here that talks about how to interpret the card, like it explains what the card means. And then there's an affirmation for every card, which you don't have to use, but I actually found it really empowering this week, especially when I drew cards like, you know, the Tower. I was like, okay, I want my affirmation today, please. Thanks. Okay, bye. I really appreciated it on that day. But I really just I thoroughly enjoyed working with this deck. I don't know that this is one that I would reach for quickly for client readings. It was really wonderful to read for myself. And I have a couple of ways that this might rotate into my sort of spiritual practice and my more regular routines, which I will talk about in a minute if I remember. But yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. So that is the Affirmators Tarot. The Oracle deck that I paired with it this week has very little aesthetic commonality with the deck, but it is the Lucky Potion Oracle by Richard, I always forget his last name, Richard Howdy. He is on Instagram as Odd Mix Market. Richard is so creative. And his first deck was the Oddity Tarot, which is a majors only deck. And the colors are vibrant in that one. It's like really kind of crazy, lots of anatomy, kind of, but playful comic book style. You'll kind of see a little bit when I show you some of these. I do have a full walkthrough of this deck on my channel. I put it up on Thursday, so I will link that also in the cards so you can view these in more detail. But this deck actually comes with the deck of cards, which I'm going to show you, a little dice and a little dice rolling mat, which makes this a really fun deck to bring with you somewhere because it's got like everything you need. There is a little certificate of authenticity because this was a deck that I backed on Kickstarter. And there's a little guidebook that fits right in there with the cards. And the guidebook, thank you Richard, is color coded so you can easily see, like if I just change the pages, they're all color coded on the edges so you can easily flip to the section that you want. And within each section the cards are numbered. And the premise of this deck is that these are all potions. And each potion has a name and has a general sort of energy about it. And then when you pull a card, you can either intuitively decide if you're going to drink the potion, share the potion, or throw the potion, or you can use the dice, which is here. And the dice has that's the throw the potion, that's the drink the potion. And the one with multiple bottles, let's see if I can get to it, there we go. Is that the one? Yeah. Is share the potion. So depending on what your dice roll comes up with, that will determine whether you drink it, you share it, or you throw it. And depending on whether you drink it, share it, or throw it, you get a different little meaning in the guidebook. And here's what's cool about the guidebook. And it's, oh, my nose is so itchy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is nothing new. I'm going to show you art while I explain. So the cool thing about the guidebook is that it's written in a narrative style. Now, if you've ever played a role-playing game like Dungeons and Dragons or even one of the online kind of role-playing games, you'll recognize the writing style because it describes, whenever you flip to that particular card in the guidebook, it describes your experience seeing the potion on the shelf, taking the potion down from the shelf, and either drinking it, throwing it, or sharing it. And it's written as if it's happening to you. So it's very narrative. It feels like you're in a bit of an adventure or a scene. If you're new to something like path working, it's basically almost like a guided mini little path working with every single card in the guidebook because it describes your experience. And if you are somebody who's very visual, which I am, or you want to work on experiencing that more visual experience, this will feel like a very immersive deck, which it did for me. I really thoroughly enjoyed pulling one of these cards each day and looking up in the guidebook and having that little mini, like brief little meditative experience with that card. And I found it really meaningful. I found that it took me deeper into the intent of that particular card. And it was just a really fun experience. I just really loved it. Now, when I did my walkthrough, in every single one of the suits, because there are 4 suits, I believe there's 4. Yeah, there's earth, air, fire, water, I think. Oh, I think it's called something else. Water, wind, earth, and fire. In every single section, there is a geometric shape as one of the cards, and it's the 11th card of every suit. So in, I think this is the earth suit, it's cube luck. And I actually, knowing very little about science, I was like, oh, it's like a dice. I get it. And then Richard sent me a DM on Instagram and was like, actually, these are platonic solids, which, again, I know very little about, but he explained it very well. And I'm not going to even try to repeat it because that will sound so dumb. But he said he might make a post about that on his Instagram. I hope he does because I think it's a really cool element. Ha! I made a pun to the deck. And the artwork is really, I can actually sort of picture these are all bottles lined up in like an apothecary room. I love this satisfaction one. This was just really fun. It was really fun. It was very different. If you find that your decks feel very cookie cutter, if the experiences you've had with Oracle cards has been very much like angel cards and fairy cards and like more mass market type things, this will be so refreshing because it is so different and fun. And I'm really pleased that I picked this one up. He is working on another deck called Exquisite Familiars, which I talked about a little bit in either my walkthrough of this deck or last week. I can't remember when I said I was going to be working with this deck. I might have mentioned it last week or in my walkthrough. I'm not sure. But Exquisite Familiars looks like it's going to be another really interesting and fun one, and I think there's just going to be more and more creative stuff coming out of Richard, so keep an eye on at Odd Mix Market on Instagram, and keep your eye out for his next project, because I think it's going to be good. The reading cloth that I've used with these, and I only ever use the purple side, but Peggy made me one of these little crystals and dragons reading cloths, and I just loved this one. It had black with green crystals on the back. I never used the black side. I just thought the purple side with these cute, like, look at these cute little dragons. I just thought that was so much fun, and I just loved seeing it underneath my cards this week, so that was really fun to play with. So I am also working with each day my rune set, which I've shown before. These are made out of pine. I love them. I mention them all the time, but still working with those. And I've started working with the Claire de Lune Lenormand by Anna Turian. This is the Lenormand deck I'll be working with all November, and I love this. This is my favorite Lenormand deck from a cards perspective. They're beautiful. They look like they are literally lit by moonlight. So stunning. Just adore them. So this one has been really fun to work with this week, and I'm going to continue to work with it throughout all of November, so I may not mention it every single week until I'm all done, but fun. It comes in a tin. Well, my version came in a tin. I think that when she reprints this, which I believe she's planning to do, I want to say early next year, if not near the end of this year, it will come in, I think, a tuck box, but love this one. So pretty. Oh, and the backs are moons. Like that. So pretty. Okay, let's talk about what I'm going to be working with next week, and then I'm going to share something new that I think I might be adding to this series. So first up, I'm so excited for the tarot deck I'm going to be working with this week, because I haven't really worked with this deck just for me yet. But this week, I am going to be working with the This Might Hurt Tarot. Now, some of you may know already that this deck has already become possibly, I mean, it's not the end of the year yet, but possibly my very favorite tarot deck release of 2019. Watch for a video on that coming up a little bit later. But I love this deck, and ever since I got it, this is by Isabella Rotman, by the way, and it is a new release. It was a Kickstarter. Ever since I've had this deck in my possession, it is one of the only decks I want to reach for client readings lately, because it has just been so intuitive. I feel very bonded with it. It's a very easy read for me. There's so much in it. Now, I did do a very lengthy walkthrough on this deck, which I will link up in the cards for you as well, so you can see every single card and hear me just dive deep on every single card. But I am so excited to finally work with this for myself. I was working with all of my sort of Halloween and like fall themed decks through October, and so I didn't want to pull this one out just yet. But I love it, and I feel like I've been spoiling my clients with it, but not really reaching for it for myself. So I'm really excited to spend a full week with it and just get some quality time. I am just really thrilled this deck exists in the world. It just feels really accessible to me. It feels very balanced. It feels really diverse in some really wonderful ways. It is modern, but it's so approachable, and it's so nurturing, and the images are so well done. I could go on and on and on. I did get the deck with they're called holographic black backs, and I don't know if the light in here is going to pick it up well. Oh, but you can kind of see there's like a multicolor sort of holographic shimmer to the edges. They're really beautiful. And I really like this deck a lot. This is what the backs look like. One of the things this deck I think does really well is that there is racial diversity, there is some age diversity in here, there is gender diversity, and there is body size and shape diversity in here. And it's just so dang relatable. I just really love it. Definitely hands down my favorite modern deck. Anyways, I could go on and on, but I'm excited to work with it this week and spend some time one-on-one with it. So I'm really excited. Spoiler alert, I'm probably not going to have a whole lot bad to say about it next week, but we'll see. We'll see how it does in actually reading for me. It's been great with client readings though. The Oracle deck that I wanted to pair with this is the Awakened Soul Oracle by Ethany. Now, I put this in a really pretty white bag that has like a very subtle pattern on it, and then I pinned one of Ethany's Awakened Soul Coven pins to the bag. I just thought that was really pretty, and it makes it really recognizable. So this is a slightly larger Oracle deck. It is gilded in silver, and I believe this is the first edition. I know she recently reprinted it. My copy is signed by the beautiful Ethany. Anyways, I just thought this one felt like it might go really well with the This Might Hurt Tarot. This is another Oracle deck that I have really felt like I wanted to reach for clients in readings recently. So it's one I have used for some of my clients. And I really like this one. It's very balanced. There's a lot of really good messages here that are, I think, very empowering and self-loving and self-nurturing. There's some wonderful diversity. Again, modern. And I felt like this would just not feel jarring next to the This Might Hurt Tarot. So I'm excited to see how those two play together. And the last thing, oh, and the reading cloth. Oh yes. The reading cloth I'm going to use this week is my fuzzy velvet and my owl. Oh, my owl is sideways. Peggy made something similar to this owl for Becca, I believe. So she might have seen something kind of similar, but this one is mine. It's slightly different. And I'm excited to be working with this one underneath those decks. I think it will look really good. I'm probably going to use the velvet side a little bit this week, and we'll see how that works out. Because I think last time I pulled this out, I used it primarily on the owly side. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is something that I've incorporated into my regular practice for myself, and that is a evening card pull, I guess you could say. But I'm a little bit selective about the kind of evening card pull that I want to do. It's not necessarily only tarot or oracle. It actually started out with the Guardian Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine, because those cards have a lot of text on them. And I got in the habit of keeping the deck by the bed and pulling a card every night and just reading the message and just thinking about it for a second and going to sleep. It was just a really nice way to sort of reflect on my day, and it felt easy and gentle because of the wording, or because of how much words there were. I don't know if that's a way to, I don't know if I'm expressing this right, but basically because the card had a lot of words on it, instead of me feeling like I really needed to sit and think about, okay, how does this apply? I felt like I was getting a message just for me. Hopefully that makes sense. And so since then, I've started rotating in some other decks from my collection, decks that I normally feel like are fairly text heavy, either through the guidebook or through the cards themselves. So I've used the Spirit of the Animals Oracle by Jody Bergsma, and right now I am working with the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. This is the full-sized edition, and look at this gigantic guidebook. I mentioned the guidebook in my monthly favorites for October, I believe. I'll put that link up in the cards as well. But this guidebook has, for every card, like 4 or 5 pages, like even in the minor arcana. Like, let me grab a random minor arcana. So here's the 10 of air. The 10 of air starts here, goes through here. So that's, okay, so 2.5 pages on the 10 of air. And then, but some are longer. It like literally just depends. So I found this challenging to use as a tarot deck, like where I just lay out a bunch of cards in a big spread. But pulling a single card at night, pulling a single card at night and reading the message has been really a nice practice for me lately. This deck is very psychological and healing in its energy. I will say I'm super tempted to pick up the pocket edition. And just because I think the cardstock is nicer, they're matte and they're borderless. And I think that given that that's how I use this deck, is more oracle style, like single card draws and like reading and reflecting, I think the mini would be really, really nice for that. But I've really been enjoying working with this deck this way. So I'm going to continue to work with this deck that way throughout the week. And I don't know if I'll work with this one longer before I change it out. But I thought I might just keep you guys posted through my weekly deck reviews about which decks I'm using this way, because I don't necessarily think every deck is well suited to this. This method of sort of pulling a card and reading and reflecting, I think it works really well for oracle decks that either have a lot of text on the cards, or tarot decks with really like deep, lengthy guidebook entries, things I really want to sink into. And yeah, so I want to keep you posted about what decks I think are really great for that, because a lot of times I think at least I can feel limited by a deck when it feels too much for like a regular reading. So I'm really enjoying kind of adding this into my practice and playing with it that way. There's also decks that I use that I pull only cards from only on the full moon or the new moon or at other special times, just to sort of connect in a different way and use these decks as part of my spiritual practice. But I just wanted to keep you guys posted about this sort of new shift in what I'm doing. So I will continue to keep you posted and let you know how everything is working out. But I hope that you enjoyed hearing about all of this stuff. I would love to hear what you are working with over this past week or upcoming week or month or however you do your working with your stuff. I'd love to hear what you're working with and how it's working out for you. Remember that you can always book a reading with me over at supportivetarot.com. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you all really soon. Bye!